Use the right prism to answer the following question. How many faces are there? Remember, faces are the outer shapes. How many bases are there? How many lateral faces are there? How many vertices are there? Vertices are where they connect. So all these little points where they connect. How many vertices are there? How many edges? Edges would be all of these line segments where they connect. How many edges are there? And how are other right prisms similar to and different from this one? Well, all right prisms have bases connected by rectangles, but not all of them have pentagon bases. This video we're about to watch is called Breaking the Plane. Think about what plane the announcer is referring to and what's significant about that plane.
3rd and goal from the 1. Quarterback takes the snap, hands it back to the running back, and touchdown!
That's right, folks. He breaks the plane.
Once he gets going, there's no way to stop him. That's right, folks. Touchdown.
That was amazing. He breaks the plane.
And that O-line just got a little bit of a push with that big running back behind him. They needed a yard. They got a yard and a half.
So that plane that the announcer is referring to is the goal line. And you can break the plane in any spot on that section. In math, a plane continues forever in both directions, creating like a surface. We're going to watch a video about them cutting butter. And so the knife represents the plane that is cutting. And we're going to see what happens when you cut parallel to the base or perpendicular to the base. So in this process, she's cutting parallel to the base. And the shape that it creates is the same shape as the base. Now they're cutting perpendicular to the base. So the knife runs into the base, creating a 90-degree angle with the base. The shape that's created this time is the same as one of those left or right sides. You can also cut perpendicular to the base, where the knife makes a 90-degree angle with the cutting board, but along a diagonal. So the shape that's created here is another small rectangle. It doesn't match any of its outer faces though. For problems 1 and 2, use the right triangular prism that you created out of modeling clay. Since you're online, we're just going to use the digital version of this. And it says, name the shape of the cross section that results from cutting the right triangular prism parallel to the bases. Here you can see I have a triangular prism, and the plane is that gray section that is parallel to the base. And if I slide it down into my shape, the shape that is created by the cutting of the plane through the prism is a triangle. Number 2 says name the shape of the cross section that results from cutting the right triangular prism perpendicular to the base. So again, here's my triangular prism. Now you can see my gray plane is perpendicular to the base, meaning going up and down, and the base is on the bottom. And if we slide this into the shape, into the solid, you can see that the resulting cross section is the shape of a rectangle. For problems 3 and 4, use the right square pyramid that you created out of modeling clay. Cut your right square pyramid parallel to the base. Name the shape of the cross section. So here my gray plane is parallel to the base. And when we cut, you can see that the shape of that cross section is a square. Number 4 asks us to cut perpendicular to the base and name the cross section. So now perpendicular, you can see that at some parts of this, it's a trapezoid, but if you go through the center, it makes a triangle. So there's several possibilities for perpendicular depending on where you slice it. Could be a trapezoid, or it could be a triangle. Consider the following square prism. Sketch the shape of a cross section that is formed when the prism is cut by a plane parallel to its bases. So if we cut parallel to the base, we're going to get the same shape as the base, so it will be a square. Sketch the shape of a cross section that is formed when the prism is cut by a plane perpendicular. So if we slice through going up and down, the shape is going to be a long, narrow rectangle. Six, consider the right triangular prism. Sketch the shape of a cross section that is formed when a prism is cut by a plane parallel to its bases. So parallel to its bases, remember the triangles are the bases. So if we cut parallel to the bases, we will get a triangle. Then it says in B to sketch the shape of a cross section that is formed when the prism is cut perpendicular to the bases. So if I go the opposite direction, we will end up with a rectangular shape. Our rectangle will be more narrow the closer it is to the top, and wider the farther we get towards the bottom. Consider the following right trapezoidal prism. Sketch the shape of the cross section that is formed when it's cut parallel to its bases. So we're going to go parallel to the bases, and it's going to create the same trapezoidal shape. And then it says in B, sketch the shape of a cross-section that is formed when it's cut perpendicular to the base. This could also be a rectangle. Eight, consider the following right triangular pyramid. A, sketch a cross section that is formed when the pyramid is cut by a plane parallel to its base. So we're going parallel to the base. We're going to end up with a triangular shape. B, sketch the shape of the cross section that is formed under both the following conditions. The pyramid is cut by a plane perpendicular to the base, and the plane intersects the point where the lateral faces meet. Well, all of the lateral faces meet at the top. So we're going to create a perpendicular slice through the top. And that is going to create a triangular shape as well. C says, sketch the shape of a cross section that is formed using these conditions. The pyramid is cut by a plane perpendicular to the base. The plane does not intersect the point where all the lateral faces meet. So this is not through the middle. So you can see here, when it goes through the point where they meet, it creates a triangle. But towards the other end, it creates a trapezoid. Consider the following right rectangular pyramid. Sketch the shape of the cross-section that is formed when it's cut parallel to the base. When it's cut parallel to the base, it forms the same shape as the base, but in this case, it might be a smaller version. And then we'll get smaller and smaller as you go up towards the top. B, sketch the shape of a cross-section that is formed under both the following conditions. The pyramid is cut by a plane perpendicular to the base and intersects the points where they all meet. So that's going to be through the middle, and it will create a triangle. Sketch the shape of a cross-section that is formed under both of the following conditions. It's cut perpendicular to the base, but does not intersect the point where all faces meet. So this is going to go through here, and it's going to create another one of those trapezoid shapes. Sketch the shape of the cross-section that is parallel to its base. That is going to be a pentagon. The pyramid is cut by the plane perpendicular to its base and intersects the points where all of the faces meet. The lateral faces meet. It's going to go up the front, the back, and across the bottom, creating another triangle. Then, perpendicular to the base, but not through. It will create another trapezoid. That is the end of this lesson on slicing using a plane through solids. Check back for lesson 23.